So, sir, given your experience as a professor at IIT Kharagpur, I know you have been a dean of students. You've played such an integral role, and watched that very closely, right? Statistics in India says that more people die. The research says more people die by suicide in India than any other countries, right? There's with this World Suicide Prevention Day, which is today. The thing is that suicide is preventable. Changing the narrative of suicide with a call of action start the conversation. Okay, so we are trying to understand why such numbers are higher in, in top academic institutions or more so in youth, and do brainstorming with stakeholders to see as a system what we could do to support our youth better. So I have some questions for you. What do you think, sir, is the reason behind this rise of suicides in India? What do you think about it, sir?
Yeah. So one thing is, actually, if you compare with some countries which we consider as slightly developed countries, for example, just look at, say, a country like Germany, or say we look at France, and these are the countries which we generally treat as, I mean, like any, even in the higher ups, people compare our achievements or attainments, etc., with such countries, isn't it?
Ji.
So my experience is that the children, they have lot of opportunities of extracurricular activities, and in terms of career, that means the time when they have to build up the career, that means from the age 15, 16, and so on. Probably they have more options, in the sense that I mean, they don't go for the coaching for appearing in the competitive examinations. And another thing is that I have observed that they spend a lot of time in the outdoor activities, in
Hmm.
the sense of playing games, or some other kind of recreational activities,
Hmm.
which actually leads to certain group activities or group interactions,
Ji.
that leads to sort of diffusion of the inbuilt pressure
Hmm.
and other kind of things, so that it actually uh, and another point which leads to is that when we play a game or outdoor activity which is a group activity, it develops a lot of leadership qualities, empathy, compassion, and other things. Ultimately, it gives them a cushion to fall back on.
Hmm.
So that means if they are feeling some trouble, they have that kind of support, which automatically gets created. In current Indian scenario, what we observe that children from a very young age are, especially if you look at the middle class children, lower middle class, or even upper middle class children, they have a very high peer pressure and very high pressure from the family and the parents to excel in the academics.
Hmm.
So they are almost, maybe I can say, few percent of the children are going for outdoor activities or playing. They in fact almost stop playing.
Hmm.
I mean, even the children who are actually like playing swimming or tennis or badminton in the
Yeah.
young age, but
Yeah.
as soon as they cross the age of 14, 15, and so on, they are completely tied up with their academics.
Hmm.
And this creates a very, so first of all, from health point of view, because they are not doing any outdoor activity or any kind of physical activity, slowly, so this is I mean, I will say from biological point of view also, because the oxygen supply becomes less and other kind of things, so your brain becomes dull. And
Yeah.
then due to the single minded focus on academics, it becomes like one point thing, that either you qualify or you are not,
Or
that means
just.
your life is ruined.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the major reasons, because
Hmm.
then they think that, oh, I did not qualify for IIT, or I didn't qualify for an IT, or now, for example, NEET exam is there and other kind of things. Now, my point is that if you have more opportunities for the children, in the sense of having more options for joining other engineering colleges or medical colleges, etc. So the number of people who are getting admission will increase. So therefore, this mad pressure or mad race will reduce. Okay,
Hmm.
this is one aspect of it, I will say. I'm not saying that this is the whole thing. Okay,
Hmm.
because now you see, when you are talking to me about the rate of suicides in the higher academic institutions, those students have already qualified, they are
Gee.
already in.
Yes.
How we are doing it?
Yes.
Okay, so let us come to this point. So what has happened that in the process of this thing, see, any child or any human being, he is likely to get some diseases, isn't it?
Hmm.
As
Hmm.
what you grow, you develop something, you get fever, you get cold and cough, you get other kind of disorders. In our society, this mental health disorder is not considered a disease, or it has not got its due recognition in terms of the opportunities from the medical fraternity. If you look at the number of doctors available in a city, so you will find 99% of the doctors, they are pediatricians, they are heart specialists, they are neurosurgeons, neurophysicians, they are general medicine experts, internal medicine expert, and so on. But you will not find people who are psychiatrists or even counselors. So in the whole city, if you search, you will get you can count. So I can share my experience when I was in Dean Student Affairs at IIT Kharagpur. So with the help of your group and many other things, what we started was an awareness program. So what we said, that let there be a lot of workshops, in which we conducted the workshops for mess workers in the hostels. We conducted the workshops for the wardens, assistant wardens. We conducted the workshops for the office bearers of the student elected bodies in the halls as well as gymkhana. Okay, so but basically the purpose is that if anybody sees any student having mental health issue, then they should be reported. And not only that, because of this awareness, many times we observed that the students themselves reported. That means the student who is having a problem, he did not feel shy to report that that I am having, look, I am having a problem. Let please take me to the counseling center, or please take me to the psychiatrist. In fact, it happened. I had a lot of documentation about that. There were various cases where students were in trouble, but they approached, or their friends informed us, and then they were helped.
Wow.
So
So the
awareness is one of the major
key.
things
Hmm.
which should be done at a war footing in the
Hmm.
higher
I
academic
like that.
institutions.
War
Uh,
footing with consistency, with like for everybody, right? People who are interacting with students, it's students themselves, it's the mess worker, security guard, housekeeping, wardens, faculty staff. Very rightly said. I think that word war footing, sir, it stands out.
So
Yes.
I will tell you the measures that we took, and I can certainly say that it helped
Yes,
to reduce
absolutely.
the incidences. Because you cannot say that there will be no mental health patient in an institute. There will be many
Hmm.
patients. So
Yeah.
to prevent the suicide, they have to be brought to the medical level. That means they should get some sort of treatment. And so, and then another thing which we maintained, or we tried to keep, that always bring in the family and the friends in the loop.
Hmm.
So for
Collective
each such a
response.
student, we made a, what we called a help group. For
Hmm.
each such a student, there was a help group which involved uh, maybe the faculty advisor, the wing mates, one or two wing mates, one of the counselors, and
Hmm.
we had a dean's council. So one of the dean council member, who was a faculty member, was also associated, so that you keep a liaison with the family of the student, and also keep a track of the student.
Hmm.
So you will have different type of students. I mean, like, some students will be obstinate, they will not accept that they have a problem. On the other hand, there will be some other students who will say that yes, we have a problem. Same thing happens with the families also. Some
Hmm.
families will be not recognizing the problem, so it is our job to explain to them, yes, look, there is a problem, please come here, and we will together handle this thing.
Hmm.
At our institute we had this facility where I could provide some accommodation, family
Hmm.
accommodation to such students.
Hmm.
And for large number of students, we were able to provide help in the sense that either their mother or father or one of them, they stayed with the child till
Hmm.
he became all right. And we have a lot of success stories actually that
Yeah.
they were
I'm
able to
aware.
complete their thing. So I think awareness and uh,
Collective responsibility, like you said, sir.
and also, I mean, first of all, that stigma should be removed. So the
Yeah.
more, so like in every such address, I always used to say that, like, you get a fever or you get a cold, then you go to a doctor. Similarly, if you get this problem, please immediately go to the doctor. There is nothing wrong with that. Either go to
Yes.
the counselor or go to the doctor, depending upon whatever is the situation.
Hmm. Right. I like the way, sir, you talked about taking that responsibility, right? Getting everybody involved and taking that ownership that this could be solved and breaking. Like you were literally, sir, I remember that you did the march also, leading from the front saying, it is an everyday thing, like how we all go to a gym or to make ourselves better. Similarly, it's a responsibility to take care of our mind, right? Um, which is great to hear. Thank you so much, sir. And we definitely need more administrators like you. But I also want to understand, sir, do you also think the incidents are also rising in top institute? Is that also something related to some policies have changed? Is there a rise in this because of the size of the institution? Or is there any other factor that you could also think of, sir? Given that you've literally seen it and led this from the front to bring the change at IIT Kharagpur.
So mental health is one issue, and suicide is one aspect of it. So I will just
Yep,
try to
yep,
uh, create some awareness here. See, so suicide can happen due to mental health problem. That means the person
yeah,
is actually having serious problem. So if he
yeah,
gets into the bipolar mode or schizophrenic mode, etc., then there is a chance that he can do self harm. That is one thing. But all the suicides are not consequence of mental health issue. Many of the suicides happen due to temporary setback to the student or to a person
yep, yep.
due to some reason, like he suffers a serious setback maybe in his
Hmm,
career, and he
hmm,
thought that, oh, because of this, oh, I am ruined, and then he
hmm.
takes an extreme step. So
Yep,
that means
yep,
he is not a mental health patient.
yes.
And
Did,
it could be, what we faced is that, for example, it could be like even something as simple as that, failing in a love affair,
yep,
uh, or getting a rebuke from a mentor, like if there is a supervisor, it could be a PhD supervisor, or it could be some other, like he gave a sound scolding to the person, and he somehow got very upset and he committed suicide. This thing we have observed for school children actually.
yep,
Recently we have observed many such cases, which we read in the newspaper, like a child is scolded for using mobile phone in the home, and mother or father scolded him, and then he hanged himself. This type of news, if you read the vernacular newspaper,
yep,
you will find more. May not be too much in English newspaper, but in vernacular newspaper we generally read such news. So this is not due to mental health issue. This is other kind of things. And if there is a action plan for reducing the suicide, I think this also needs to be addressed. Okay, so uh, we have seen employees in organizations committing suicide. So why do they do that? So it is not that they are mentally unhealthy or any kind of thing. So it may be some extreme behavior in their office or in their supervisor or superior, uh, doing something to them, and then they are very upset, and then they take that extreme step. In fact, many times we have seen in the news such things which are coming, where by he's hurt, extremely hurt by something, and then he, so this needs a very empathetic attitude or aptitude in the workplace. That means which includes offices. So it could be private organizations, it could be government organizations, and in academic institutions, it again requires an empathy from the faculty members, from the other workers who are staff members and other people. So probably I think that is the key point. When faced with the extreme helplessness, that means the person feels that nothing can be done,
Nothing can be done.
and
Yeah.
then if he feels that when and he has nobody to talk to him or support, then he can go to the extreme step. So when you talk about the suicide prevention, I think these two different things you have to take into account. So one is that mental health aspect which leads to self harm, and another one is uh, a dry attitude or a unempathetic attitude towards the people,
Hmm.
which also leads to, if you remember, I mean few years back there used to be a lot of news about farmers
Yes.
suicides. So it is not that they are mental health patients actually.
Hmm.
So in fact I read some report which was, I think, presented in parliament or someplace, where I think that time whosoever was the minister, they have mentioned various causes of
Yeah.
that thing. So it was not all that they are mental health kind of
Yeah.
thing. They
Yeah.
said various reasons.
Yes.
So I think
Psychosocial, probably psychosocial issue also, right? Like, I
social
think,
issues also. Yeah.
like you very rightly said, so maybe, I know when I was growing up, or sir, I'm more than that, maybe when you were growing up, there was no mobile phone, right? Uh, to get a dress or something also, you will have to wait. Ki Diwali aega, Dashera aega. At least my parents would buy us twice in a year, right? One is birthday, one is Diwali. But probably now, because of a 10-minute delivery, everything instant, like ho gaya, comment ho gaya, I think that coping mechanism has sort of reduced, or your wait time has sort of reduced. So you, and I think maybe like you rightly said in the beginning, where there is no, your coping mechanism now is not talking to your friends, family members, peers. It's more like looking at, it's a tunnel vision that you have, looking at the phone, looking at, only thinking that that is the end. Probably, you rightly said, I think so. Maybe that is also one of the things as a society, that it's important that we have to address. We have to create that safe environment, that we are patiently listening, we are empathetic towards uh, people. Thank you. No, that's a very, very valid point, sir. Sir, I also want to ask you, as an administrator, um, when you were trying to address these challenges at IIT Kharagpur, what are the challenges you faced, right? What are the challenges at an institute level you face when you're trying to address this? Um,
Yeah, sure. So yeah, so regarding the awareness thing that we um, yeah, so what we did, we organized a lot of workshops actually. And
hmm,
in my 4 years as a dean, of course 1 year went in the COVID period, but
hmm,
3 years, yes, we really organized large number of workshops. So that is what we felt at that point of time, that people should not take it as a bad thing.
hmm.
Okay, so that is one thing. But there were few cases which were not mental health issues, but
So
still.
may I stop you here? So you said you organized a lot of workshops, right? A lot of times when I ask the administrators, how do we drive awareness? If people find that challenging, that how would faculty might not attend, I can't get uh, mess workers to attend, students will not show. How do you tackle that, sir? I'm sure you would have also faced it, given that it's such a large campus.
Yeah, so definitely you cannot expect 100% attendance, but even if it is 70%, 80%, it is good. So again, see, the top administrator has to be proactive. So,
Hmm.
like when I was there, so I mean, I can only speak for myself that we really connected well with the people. Like I had the phone numbers of all the mess managers actually, and I
Hmm.
was able to call them personally.
Hmm.
That okay, today there is a program, please send your workers. So they will not
Hmm.
send all, but they will let them send 5 workers,
Hmm.
Similarly, for the wardens and assistant wardens, I was able to call all of them. uh, I had the, I mean, it's not that I have to firstly talk to, say, HMC chairman or anybody. I was able to call them directly. So, okay, please
Hmm.
come, we are organizing this thing. So, not only me, but my team, like I had a large team of faculty members who were supporting me. Like we said, we had a Dean Student Affairs Council. So, they all came forward. And so for every such organization, I used to actually put some people who will actually make sure that large number of people attend it.
Hmm.
So yeah, say anything attending is a challenge, but if you have good level of contact,
Hmm.
and then definitely you have to make some nice thing, like have a nice hall to have the thing. So we- audio video should be working, and our counselors were very helpful, so they used to make PPT presentations and all that, and then you have to give some refreshments etc. So these are some additional peripheral things which you do, but it is a feel good thing, like people will feel
Yeah.
nice. I mean, like if you organize something and you provide them small refreshments and all, then they tend to just come and attend, because you can chat over the tea, and so additional things happen actually. So yeah.
Yeah, very beautifully said. The top administrator has to be proactive. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you use that word, war footing.
Mm.
I think a lot of learning there. So sorry, I had cut you off. I think you said first is awareness, and now I think from forming that committees to actually reaching out and making sure that from faculty to mess members to students are attending, I think that went a long way. What else do you think administrators could do so that, or challenges that they would face in managing emotional wellness of such large organized institutions?
Yeah, so definitely in the large institutions, because the students come from all walks of life and from
Hmm.
all over the country, so definitely they are all different. I mean, they are not same. So I mean, like, slowly, because of the people are having more self-centered approach to the life. I mean, because it is instilled from the young childhood in them that you have to excel, you have to clear an exam, and you have to make a career. So what happens that from the beginning they become aloof, so that leads to you can say less talking amongst themselves, so their pressure is not released actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and on the top of that, if parents are also putting a lot of pressure, then the child breaks down.
Hmm.
And if you look at many of the cases which are happening in the coaching centers in Kota, etc., I mean, like within half a year, more than I think 20 people have,
Yeah.
20 children have committed suicide. So, what is this?
Yeah.
Because the children at the age of 15, 16, he is sent away from their homes.
Yeah.
He may be from Bihar or he may be from UP. So he's a child. See, 15, 16 year old age old child, he needs affection of the parents,
Hmm.
isn't it? There should be brother, sister, and maybe parents, they talk to him nicely and all. He is sent to a far off environment where he lives in a some sort of dormitory accommodation or a hostel room, and all that he has to do, he has to attend the classes throughout the
Right.
day, appear in some exams
Yeah.
every day or every week, and he has to qualify. If he doesn't qualify or he doesn't do well, he is relegated to a lower section. These are
Yes.
all thing I have personally noticed, these kind of
Yes.
things, that you are in A1 section, or you are in A2, or you are in A7. So every week, depending upon your performance, you are either upgraded or you are
And
relegated.
on
So what is this? I mean, the child is totally devoid of life. He has nothing. I mean, he cannot. He doesn't know who is Mamaji, who is Chachaji, or I mean, he's totally off. And
yeah.
personally, I have noticed the children who are coming to IIT Kharagpur. Some of the children are like that because they have never interacted with their family members. So when they
Yeah.
come here, they are totally lost actually. So now you talk about mental health or anything, I mean, it is immaterial, because the child has not nowhere to go. I mean, he's
So,
yes.
I studied in Kota and I can so relate to that. मैंने Q4 batch में start किया था and everybody was in A1 batch and my time You could take as many number of drops that you want for IIT JEE preparation, right? And I had somebody living beside my room who had taken 6 years of drop, somebody 5 years, and I felt like I was a fresher. So I used to be like a state player for swimming, table tennis till my 10th, 11, 12, everything stopped, right? And you would see people studying 20 hours, 21 hours, and I was like, I'm only used to studying 9 hours, and I thought I was doing great, right? But like you said, I think my parents at that time noticed that this is not healthy, right? The life has to be a rounded approach, and they said, you know what, come back from Kota, we'll figure out if you can clear IIT. And I think amongst everybody living there, I cleared my first attempt. But I had a rounded life, right? From दादा दादी के साथ रहना, घूमना, खेलना और पढ़ना भी. It's a part of the life. So relatable, sir. And I thought in that time when they were living away from their family, they also lost touch with their family because all family was talking about कितने marks आए, कौन से batch में हो, होगा कि नहीं, because they've also put in so much money and all their aspirations are on that poor child who is studying in Kota. And same when they are studying probably in an institution of such high importance also, right? So I think so relatable, sir. So I think that every student is different. I think they definitely take that, right? And they're used to being alone and aloof in life. Um, so what are other challenges as an administration, sir, that you think you faced as managing the emotional wellness of such large institution? Right? And should there also be that cohort-based approach कि इस टाइप के बच्चों के लिए इस टाइप का intervention होना चाहिए, or it should be one size fits all?
No, it is not one size fits all. So nowadays it has been introduced. I think it is at IIT Kharagpur also. I think when the children come, I think some sort of this counseling center, they give them some sort of scoring something. And I'm not very sure. Slightly, I'm away from administration at this point of time. But there was some talk about that also, that the some sort of emotional score of the children who are joining in the first year, like you get a medical report. Similarly, that was the thing, and then some sort of classification was done. So actually, globally, if you see, I mean, I do not know in Indian situation. So it's something like around 15% children, I mean, they have the mental health problems, which is natural. Like you say that 20% people may have respiratory diseases, and 12% people may have heart disease, and so on. So similarly, this is also one of the things. So there will be people who have. So only thing is that this one is not treated at all. So if somebody gets a respiratory illness, he goes to the doctor. Somebody gets a skin disease, he goes to a doctor. But if somebody gets a mental health problem, he doesn't go to a doctor, or he is not taken to the doctor. So that is the main thing that needed to be done. So at least we created a lot of awareness about that part. And see, this type of problem is definitely challenging. Uh, as you are asking, what are the challenges we face? So definitely identification of the people is a challenge. So because of the increased awareness and having some services like YourDOST, etc., people had some, you can say, they got courage to get into such things. In fact, we conducted workshop even for the security people who do security in the hostels and at various places in the institute. And in some instances, they also could identify and informed us that, sir, this boy is having a problem, or this person is having a problem. And so the timely action was taken. Another thing is that at crucial points, for example, when the exams are there, like mid-semester exam and semester exam, so we initiated idea of wing representatives. So in hostel, you have every floor and every side, like this side, A side, B side, and so on. And they were also made sort of responsible that you please check whether the people are going to the exam or not going to the exam, or whether they are staying in the room or going outside the room. And during the exam time, at every session, we introduced the system of attendance to be reported to the Dean of Student Affairs office. See, it is actually an academic thing that the absentee record is taken, isn't it? In
Yes.
every exam, like people give attendance that they have appeared in the exam. But that exam is like, so when the exam is over, then when the copies are collected and when the subject teacher says he finds he is absent, that is one thing. Here what we started, that the dean student affair office is made known that these are the children who did not appear in this forenoon session or afternoon session on this day. Within 1 hour, that list was sent to the corresponding wardens of the halls to have a check that why that student did not come. And with such case, actually we discovered few cases which were serious, like the student was contemplating something, but he was like he was found that something is wrong. And so this we started, and I think this was a good practice, and I think it is still going on in our institute. uh, so that brings out a lot of cases. See, it may be even say 3 cases out of 5,000 students, but that 3 is important, no, because that 3 person's life is saved.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Wow. I'm so happy to see, sir. I learned so much from you. I think that top administrator has to be proactive, right? A lot of awareness at all levels, having that cohort-based approach for students, making champions for students especially at important times, right? Really watching ऐसा होता है ना कि हमारे पे attack होने वाला है. At that time, even our armies are at like just constantly
So
at.
one more point I would
Yes.
like to mention, in our institute we have a student welfare group.
Hmm.
So which is a maybe a class of about 50 students or something like that at institute level.
IWG.
So it is there in the gymkhana.
Yes.
So what they used to do, generally they used to handle that some weak students, so they will conduct some remedial classes, some
Hmm.
tutorials for them. So along with that, we created, it is called Institute Wellness Group,
Hmm.
IWG, which
Yeah.
is again a set of large number of students, something like 50 to 100 students are there, and their primary job was to look after the welfare. So in our students gymkhana, we introduced a position of general secretary of wellness, student
Hmm.
welfare. So
Hmm.
earlier we had only general secretaries for sports, general secretaries for the technology events, and general secretary for social cultural events, two each. So we introduced two more for the welfare activities. So they were called um, general secretary student welfare. We had one male, one female, just to take care of all the things. And accordingly, then in each hostel also, because each hall has a hall council which has a president, then they have a mess secretary, they have a maintenance secretary, they have a sports secretary, and so on. So we introduced a welfare secretary in each hall. So this large group became a IWG, Institute Wellness Group. And I think the general secretaries, at least during my time, they were very proactive, and
Hmm.
they really did very well. Actually, in fact, most of the cases they were the first in case of any crisis to be on the spot and then to handle the things. I mean, I really found it to be very useful. So generally, what happens that you take it to that level,
Hmm.
like don't keep everything and just pass instructions to the people. You
Yeah.
bring it to their level so that they
Okay.
feel involved. And
Yes.
in fact, I found that they were really more than happy to help actually.
Hmm. Right. After all, I think so students care the most for students. Right. They've
Yes,
literally been in their
yes,
shoes and so I think that idea of saying student welfare group um, at those important times, making sure that students, what is called strengthening the link between academics and emotional wellness support also, sir. I thought that is something very well done at IIT Kharagpur, right? A lot of places where we speak, they are like, वो academics के पास information है, even for us to get that information, we do not have access. But I think uh, if the top administrators want to bridge that gap, saying anybody who's a low performer, low attendance, repeater, maybe not going to mess, I want to make sure I'm getting information. We are going to them to check on them rather than waiting for them to reach out to us.
yes, yes,
Right?
yes, right,
Right?
right.
And
Yeah.
5,000, 10,000, maybe if I find two or three or even one, that is a success for me. And we will keep doing it consistently so that we have a we create an environment where people feel that they are cared for and it's safe for them.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Um,
right.
so thank you. That's very nicely said, sir. I also want to ask you. I think you brought that up yourself, but probably I'll just ask you that as a question also. What do you think is students' community? I think you did talk about institute also, and let's say service providers like those. We could also do our bit to address this issue. What do you think some of those inputs could be?
Inputs to,
What do you think that there could be inputs for student community?
yeah.
What is that they could do at their level? What do you think? Maybe you did talk about what could administrators do and institute do, and what do you think as service providers like those, or what is that we could also do to further support the community?
Yeah, I remember that you used to send a lot of handouts and some sort of information which we used to actually pass on to the students actually. I mean, it was directly sent to the vice president of students Gymkhana, and then he used to actually circulate to all the children in the campus. So, I mean, that means in all the hostels, that information was those leaflets and other kind of things. My feeling is that these are all positive things. I mean, like basically, it breaks the ice.
Hmm.
That means we should talk about it.
Hmm.
Okay, so and it creates empathy in the student community, and then they also do not feel, because I remember that 30 years back or 25 years back, it was actually considered bad to have a mental health problem. I mean, like we just say ki pagal hai kya, or something like that. But I think now the time has come to just consider it as a headache or a fever or a cough and cold kind of thing that people are likely to get. Any fine looking person may be having an issue. Let him have access to a proper medical help in the form of either counseling depending upon the severity, or to a proper psychiatrist, etc.
I think that's very, very helpful. Okay. So I think what you're saying is if we could join hands and as students, as providers, we could do more awareness to break that stigma.
Sure,
I
sure.
think that's the job that we should do. And thank you so much, sir. I think I learned so much from you. Thank you always, sir. I think I've learned a lot from you. That's why I thought I was very concerned when I've been hearing the recent incidents, and I really want to say what more can be done, right? Because I feel like there is a lot more we could do to address this as a community, take that collective action. I've seen that, I've seen you doing that at IIT Kharagpur, so I have a lot of deep regards for you. Thank you, Professor Sumi. Anything
Thank
that
you.
you might want to add?
Okay, thank you. I think it's
Thank
fine, and I think let people come out. I mean,
you.
from their rooms, from their mobiles. Let people interact. I think if they
Yes,
are more socially interacting, uh, playing games and other kind of social activities, family activities, get together. So I
Ji.
think get together is the word actually, rather
Yes,
than being alone.
yes.
Okay, so I think
Yes.
that will
We
reduce
are
certainly.
stronger together. We need to get together so that we are stronger together.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much,
Nice.
sir.
Yeah. Okay. Nice
Thank you
talking to
for
you.
it.
Yeah.
Same
Okay.
here, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Okay.